Well, welcome to the Salinas Union High School District. It was exciting to hear the diversity in the room. Just real quick, just to check, how many of you are alumni? You don't have to stand up, just raise your hand. Alumni of this school district. Thank you for coming back. We appreciate you coming back to serve in the community. And so, how many of you are in your first year of teaching or first year in your role? Congratulations, welcome to teaching. So a couple things we have in common, just listening to your stories. So first, this is my first year as superintendent in the district. So I'm excited, but this is starting my 26th year in the district. So I worked here for 25 years, and we'll talk a little bit about that here as we go through my PowerPoint. I left the district, went to the Bay Area, and was a superintendent in Jefferson Union High School District in Daly City. And for those of you that are looking for a permanent house, so am I. I sold all of my stuff here. The plan was not to come back. And I learned real quick that life brings you places that you don't expect. And so it brought me back. And so I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to stay permanently as well. So we might be motel mates. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the district that you signed up for. So what I didn't hear as you were going around the room and introducing yourself is I didn't hear anybody say you're here for the signing bonus. So we're going to take all of those back. Didn't hear anybody say you're here for the Chromebooks, but I did hear some people allude to the fact that you're excited that you'll get some technology as part of your journey here in our school district. So we have a school board of 7 in our district, and I'll be working closely with the 7 board members. We'll be coming out and visiting school sites throughout the year, attending different meetings through the year, so you might see myself and some of the board. If you want to get familiar with what they look like, their pictures are on our webpage, and our webpage got an update while I was gone, so it's really exciting to see that update take place. Our executive leadership team, so you met Dr. Baltazar Sabah, she's here somewhere. You all met Mr. Randy Bangs, and I want to just give him a round of applause and his team for putting this together year after year. Thank you, Mr. Bangs. And then Anna Aguillon, who you'll meet, she needed to take a couple days off right before we gear up for the year. So she'll be here later in the week. She's our CBO and our manager. So this is a large district. We're 15,000 kids and growing. Just about 5 years ago, we were about 9,000 kids. So we're growing exponentially right now. And this is a small executive leadership team. So we have a lot on our plates as a group. Our extended leadership team, so on this list, 80% of them are new in their positions this year as well. So I'm having fun coming back as the new superintendent, and I'm finding a lot of new faces. So it'll be exciting for me. The leadership at each of your schools, so first in the high schools, I won't go through all the names because I want to get back on track with time and get through my presentation as well. But in this PowerPoint, we have all of our leadership at our school sites. So the high schools have a principal, 4 assistant principals, an athletic director, and an activities director. And the activities director is a quasi-administrative and / teacher position. Real quickly, so as it was mentioned earlier, we are opening a new high school next year. We're on schedule to open Rancho San Juan High School in the fall of 2018. And for those of you that came in on Veranda, which I'm going to give you a little bit of advice if you're new to the area, avoid Veranda between 4 and 6 o'clock at night. There's a lot of housing in this area, and they haven't figured out yet as a city that we need to widen that street. And so at some point we will, because all of the ag land this direction in the next 5 to 8 years will start development. So another 400 houses or so are headed that direction. So Rancho San Juan, though, if you take Veranda out and you pass Everett Alvarez High School and you look at a diagonal 45 degrees out into the field, you see this monstrous erected building out there. That's the new high school out there. So that will be opening up hopefully to alleviate some of our growth and our overcrowding at our high schools. Our middle schools, they all have a principal and 2 assistant principals. They do have an activities director and an athletic director, but at the middle schools, they're not part of the administrative team per se. And then in the middle says coming soon, Dolores C. Huerta Middle School. So this is a beautiful campus that we're in right now, La Paz Middle School. It's under 20 years of age or so, right? And it still shows really well as a middle school campus. But we're growing, and our elementary feeder districts are growing. So we have the land, and we're finishing the financing and the architecture to build our 5th middle school, which will be a half-mile down veranda and a half-mile out into the fields. And so we'll be breaking ground hopefully in the spring or so, early summer, on that new middle school. So we also have Mount Toro High School has a principal, Richard Moreno. He also oversees Carl Lake Community School, which you'll hear about later. We have a new principal at El Puente. And we have like I said, Mission Trails ROP, the director position's open, and a new director at the adult school. So I also, I always like to recognize the people that put together the start of the school year and the people that support all of our teachers. If you added up the numbers earlier in Mr. Banks' PowerPoint, you would have noticed we have about 1,500 employees. We are the largest employer in the county. And there's a lot of people that put in tremendous effort over the summer to get these places ready to go for the start of the school year. We have an outstanding maintenance staff, clerical staff. Our registrars do a great job getting everybody enrolled over the summer. Some of you might have participated in a scope and sequence team over the summer to get ready. If not, you'll be invited next summer. We have curriculum development teams, instructional coaches, and of course our HR and payroll departments. And our IT and our ed techs are just amazing. 4 years ago, we thought that we should have ed techs in this district, and we put them in place, and we couldn't have hired 2 better individuals to operate that system. I was extremely jealous when I left the district that we didn't have that at the place I went to. So just some of my messaging. So as I said, this is my 27th year as an educator. I worked at every level of the system. I started as a campus supervisor. So those people that walk around with the vests to help kids get to class, that's what I started as 27 years ago. I'm passionate about the process of learning. An innovative thinker and an innovative planner. I'm a people person and a relationship builder. I'm very student-centered, and I'm focused on the achievement of all students. One of the hallmarks of the district that you signed up to come to, some of you said you came back as well, is that the efforts and the vision and focus is truly centered on improving the opportunities for every student. So you'll see these kinds of banners around the campuses with academic performance growth. We make tremendous strides. I was going to do some data with you, but I'm not going to today. But just 6-7 years ago, about 72% of our kids graduated on time, meaning when they started as a freshman, 4 years later, matriculating through the school years, only about 72%. That was the average in the district. Last year, it was 92%. So you can clap for that. And I like to qualify that because we did not lower the requirements for graduation. In 2009, we raised the requirements for graduation. So they are completely aligned with the A to G requirements to get into a UC or CSU. So the school sites, the teachers, the staff are doing tremendous work to help focus on making sure every student has that opportunity to be successful. I've been a community participant and servant of this community. I've been an athletic coach in the community. Part of my background in this district is I worked at El Sal for 12 years. And I was a coach in the district, a high school baseball coach for 15 years. And then I became a teacher and then an assistant principal. And for 6 years, I was a principal at Alisal High School. Loved every day of it. Still have a lot of great relationships from people that I worked with there. And then I was associate superintendent for 4 years after that. I'm a husband, father of 2. One is starting his 2nd year at Fresno State. Go Dogs. I'm only saying that because that's what I write on my check every month. My daughter she finished her master's degree from Georgetown, and there was no way I ever thought that she would be a teacher. I thought my son would be a teacher. He's so much better with kids. But she entered a credential program, so she'll be teaching in one of our elementary schools here in town. So I'm excited for her. which means I'll have more work to do at home now, mentoring her through teaching as well. I've been a coach, mentor, confidant, and I'm a lover of life. And if you don't love life, then it's difficult to do anything else, because this job is extremely rewarding, and this job can be extremely stressful as well. But you have to love what you do. My commitments to this district have been being mindful of tradition and history, being that I've been here for so long, I understand what that is. Been focused on growth and not becoming complacent, but getting better at what we do every year. I'm ready to serve our communities, and I'm dedicated to working collaboratively with all of you to create awesome. And the concept of awesome is a big thing for me, and we're going to get into a little bit here with my presentation. So going back to your discussions, I have a social sciences credential from Chapman University and a master's from San Jose State University. And I never taught social studies, I taught health. So, which dates me because that means there was a time when you could teach anything really with an emergency. Not anymore. So some affirmations I have of our school district: our students want to learn. I put that at the top because you're gonna find that. If you've never worked a day in our building, you're gonna realize that our students want to learn. You may at times feel disheartened by a student's pull from you, wanting more from you than you're willing to give. That doesn't mean they're being defiant. That means you and that student need to figure out a way to ensure that they can learn, because they want to learn. They come to your classrooms eager and ready to learn. There's great people in our district that are committed to our students. Our board strives to be great. From time to time, you may not hear that in the news because they're elected officials. And as I was sitting and listening this morning, I was looking at these beautiful pillar posters around the room, and you don't have to read them thoroughly now, but as you do, I wonder if we sent a copy of those to the White House right now, if that would have any impact. So our board are elected officials though, and so sometimes they have diverse opinions, etc., but they are all committed to us being great. Our schools are very proud of their traditions, and we have very distinguished programs. When you get to your school in the next few days and you meet your staff and your principals, everybody's going to start instilling in you the sense of pride in your school. How proud it is to be a Viking or a Trojan or a Spartan, whatever your mascot will be, right? So people are very traditionally excited and proud of where they're from. We have Olympians. Mr. Banks talked a lot about the different people that have been successful. But we do have trailblazers that have come out of our classrooms, that have done exciting things. But we are also challenged right now by increasing enrollment, which is different than a lot of places in the state that are decreasing enrollment. So our challenge with increasing enrollment is just losing space. So some of you that are psychologists, speech therapists, nurses, other support staff, we're doing our best right now to find you places to call home in the school buildings, because we are challenged by space right now. Like I said, we're building a new high school and a middle school's coming. We still have some work to do on delving into building workforce housing. So you hear it across the state, so I'll be working with the board to start looking into workforce housing. And our budget is in a solid position, but we're also challenged, by things ahead of us like federal and state funding, as well as this huge impact the state has on STRS and PERS. And so, but we do really well here. My focus, you heard a little bit about it in Mr. Bang's, one of his slides earlier, is aligning resources to focus on college and career readiness for all students. So this is a drum that I like to beat a lot with. We focus on getting every kid to graduate A to G, ready to go to a CSU or UC school right out of high school. However, the data across the state shows 60% of the kids or so do not qualify, which means they need to have opportunities as well. Whether that's developing an articulation of streamlining students into Hartnell Community College, or whether that is preparing them with industry certificates through our ROP program that allow them to go out and start working right away until they figure out the value of schooling. Our job really is to make sure that we're focused on both ends of that, college and career. So we'll be beating on that drum a lot this year. We're going to implement strategies to improve academic achievement for all students, implement a budgetary strategic plan, implement models to improve communication and customer service, to include the uses of social media, blogs, and technology. Who's a blogger in here? Nobody. Nobody, okay, one person. I think there's other people that just don't want to admit it, right? Okay, so, all right. How many use social media? Facebook, Tumblr? I'm out of date with that. My daughter's a social media expert, has a degree in that field, and she always says to me, Dad, you're like way behind the times. I get it. So show me and I'll learn. So we're gonna start looking at better ways to use social media. Everett Alvarez School just launched their Eagles Flying High Twitter page last week or something like that. So I will just say that, as we get into the week and down the road, if you're new to teaching, scrub your Facebook sites, scrub your social media sites. The first time a parent's upset with you, they're going to find you online, and then they're going to call Mr. Bangs or I and say, why do you have this teacher working for you? So scrub them. Find the stuff that shouldn't be on there. We're also going to implement innovative programs to attract other employees to our district. So there's about 95 or so people this year, and so our goal really is to reduce this number so that we don't have the kind of turnover that we've had in the district, and we know there's reasons for that. It's not just people aren't staying with the profession. We know part of it is finding homes, finding permanent places to live. So we have some work to do on that piece, and being innovative is part of it. This is an innovative process as well. I believe, is this the 9th year, 8th year of the new teacher orientation? At least. Yeah, at least. So, and it's just gotten better and better every year, so it's exciting to be here. My expectations, so these are the expectations I've communicated with the leadership teams as well as the Board of Education. Learning will be the focus of our efforts. We'll be forward-thinking, planning, and acting with a can-do attitude. We will foster the mindset of students towards believing in their future. So this is an important thing for me because my years of being a principal and then after that, I've seen a lot of our students disconnect on why education may or may not be important in their long-term as they progress through life. And we're challenged because of the things that students have at their fingertips, right? So our mission statement at the end, it says to be a productive citizen in a global society. And so this is the global society, right? So how do we ensure that they're going to be productive in using these kinds of things long term, as well as they don't think they need to go to college anymore, not all of them, but some of them, because they see things online that show them people making lots and lots of money and not having to go to college to do it. When I moved here, almost 14 months ago, when I moved to the Bay Area, I was looking for a place to rent in a little town called Millbrae, which is just west of the airport. And I did like many of you. I went on Craigslist, and I looked at apartment listings, I looked at home listings, and found a home. My wife and I went out to view the home. It was very pricey, but it was space. I needed some space. Unfortunately, I moved from here where I had space to the Bay Area where there's no space. In fact, there's no parking in most places. And so this had some space, so we went to this house in Millbrae and knocked on the door, and a young man opened the door, and I immediately said, can I talk to your parents? We're here to look at the house. And he said, it's not my parents' house, this is my house. And he had to be, in my mind I was already being judgmental, I was doing some bad things. And I was saying, really? Okay. And so then a young woman walked out and she said, yeah, he and I are married, we live here together. And so being that I'm a superintendent, I like to ask people what they do and how does that connect with what we do? Because for me, that's more information for us to be able to do our job better as well. So I said, well, what do you do? Because this is a beautiful home. And he said to me, and behind him were these two very large TV monitors, probably like 30-inch TV monitors next to each other with two computers on both sides and headsets. And I immediately said to him, what do you do? And before he can answer, I answered for him. And I said, are you a gamer? Right? And he says, no, I'm not a gamer, I'm a coder. And he said, I'm 25 years old, my wife's 24, we just sold our first business with 90 employees. I developed a software package that runs this industry for this group of people who are all investors in their own company, and I sold it and I have a residual income from that company for life for 12%. And I'm opening another business, we're moving to LA. We will create, adjust, and maintain policies, procedures, and communication strategies that are aligned to our district vision and focused on performance at an exemplary level. We will collaboratively develop and purposefully communicate goals aimed at continuous improvement when we will be results-oriented. You'll hear that from your principals. We will embrace change when and where it's needed. So I'm not somebody that's going to create change just to create it. There's a lot of great things we already do in this district, and you'll be experiencing them this week. And we will develop together as a school district and not be a district of schools, meaning we have 12 sites. We don't want them all doing their own thing. We're all in this together.